Let's talk about one of George Harrison's really important songs, Here Comes the Sun.
Yes, that song and something that made it obvious that he was now on par with Lennon and McCartney as a great songwriter.
You know, it's interesting you say on par because for, decades, the story was always so clear. The Beatles were John and Paul.
Right. They were the engine.
Exactly. They were the geniuses, the icons. George was, he was a texture. But I was looking at some numbers recently, and my jaw just hit the floor. There's this streaming victory happening that is, frankly, unbelievable.
It is genuinely shocking if you're still stuck in that, 1970s or even 1990s mindset. As of 2023, Here Comes the Sun has sailed past 1.3 billion streams on Spotify.
1.3 billion? I mean, that's a number that's hard to even wrap your head around.
It is. And it's the first Beatles song to hit that milestone. But here's the kicker. It's not just the first Beatles song.
Oh.
It is the first song from the entire 1960s to get over 1 billion streams.
That's wild. I mean, you think about the 60s. You've got the Rolling Stones, Motown, Bob Dylan, and it's George Harrison who crosses the finish line first. The irony is just, it's delicious.
It really is. You've got these absolute juggernauts, Lennon-McCartney. They wrote, Hey Jude, Let It Be, Come Together, Yesterday. I mean, these songs are practically woven into our cultural DNA.
And for decades, those were the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
You'd look at Radio Play, greatest of all time lists.
Yeah.
It was always one of those.
Exactly. But now, with streaming, it's a democracy. People just click what they actually want to hear, and, George has beaten them all.
It feels like the ultimate vindication, doesn't it? We always call him the quiet Beatle, but with these numbers, he's making the loudest noise right now.
He really is. And to get why that vindication is so sweet, you really have to understand the dynamic inside the band. George was very much the junior partner.
Junior partner is a polite way of putting it. I've heard stories that he had to, fight for scraps on every album.
Oh, he did. The Lennon-McCartney machine was this unstoppable force. They'd been writing together since they were teenagers. They had this whole connection. So when it was time to fill an album, John and Paul just took up all the space.
And Ringo would get his one song.
Ringo got his one song, and George, he was lucky if he got one, maybe two.
Imagine being George Harrison, writing something like Taxman or While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and being told, yeah, sorry, George, no room. Paul wrote another song about his dog.
It was incredibly frustrating for him. And it wasn't just the song quota, it was the attitude. Paul could be really dismissive, micromanaging his guitar parts.
And John.
While John could be even worse just by being indifferent. There were times when George was recording his songs and John would just check out or not even show up. The message was pretty clear. You're the lead guitarist, not an equal songwriter.
Which makes this whole streaming thing so fascinating. So who's driving this? It can't just be old fans like us.
No, and that's the key. It's Gen Z, it's younger listeners. They're discovering this music without any of the, boomer nostalgia.
They don't have that baggage.
None of it. They don't care about the band's internal politics in 1969. They don't care that classic rock radio played Hey Jude every hour for 40 years. They just hear the music, and Here Comes the Sun, it connects.
I love that. They're picking the song that's a vibe, not the one they were told is the masterpiece. But okay, let's get into how this song even happened.
Yeah.
The origin story is basically every office worker's fantasy.
It really is. The ultimate story of playing hooky.
So set the scene for us. Where are we?
We're in the spring of 1969. It's April. And in England, this was a record-breaking April. Brilliant sunshine after a really long, dreary winter. We're at Eric Clapton's house in Surrey, a place called Hurtwood Edge.
Out in a beautiful English garden, I imagine.
Exactly. And George was supposed to be somewhere else entirely.
He's supposed to be in a boardroom.
Yeah.
At Apple Corps.
Right. And by 1969, Apple Corps, the Beatles company, not the tech giant, was a complete nightmare.
I've heard it described as soul-crushing.
That's the perfect term. George said it was like school. They had these grand utopian ideals for it. But by 69, it was just hemorrhaging money. It was chaos. And these artists were suddenly forced to sit in endless meetings with accountants and lawyers.
Ugh. Arguing about percentages, signing contracts. Nobody joins a rock and roll band to look at spreadsheets.
Precisely. And George just hit a wall. On this one particular day, he just decided, nope, I'm not going. He blew off the meeting, drove to Eric Clapton's house, grabbed an acoustic guitar, and just sat out in the garden in the sun.
And Clapton saw the whole thing happen, right?
He did. He said he'd just watched the song come to life right there in front of him.
Yeah.
But the emotion behind it wasn't just about the nice weather. It was about the sheer physical relief of escaping all that drudgery.
And that's what makes the line, "It's been a long, cold, lonely winter," hit so hard. It's not just a weather report.
Not at all. That winter was a metaphor for his entire life at that moment.
Let's unpack that a little, because early 1969 was just a complete disaster for George personally.
An absolute disaster. I mean, look at the timeline. In January, you have the miserable Get Back and Let It Be sessions. We've all seen the documentary. The tension was unbearable.
That's when he quit the band.
He temporarily quit the band, yeah.
Yeah.
He just couldn't take being treated so poorly by Paul and John anymore. On top of that, he'd been arrested for marijuana possession, which was a huge stress. And just to add injury to insult, he'd just had his tonsils out.
Ouch. So your tonsils are out, you've been arrested, you're fighting with your best friends, and you have to go sit in meetings with accountants.
That is a long, cold, lonely winter. It was the slow motion implosion of his entire world. So when he's singing, "Here Comes the Sun," and "It's All Right," he means it. It's salvation. It's the burden of being a Beatle lifting from his shoulders.
Wow, that context changes everything. It's not a nursery rhyme, it's a survival anthem. Okay, so speaking of survival, let's talk about the recording session. There's a really interesting detail about who wasn't there.
There is. This is crucial. On the day they recorded the basic track, July 7th, 1969, John Lennon was not in the room.
The missing Beatle.
He'd been in a car crash in Scotland and was recovering. So he wasn't being difficult. He just physically couldn't be there. And this turned out to be a blessing in disguise for the song.
How so?
It just removed that judgmental presence. Without John there, George didn't have to worry about being dismissed or having his idea shot down. It was just George, Paul, and Ringo. And they were there to support his vision.
It created space for him.
A huge amount of creative space. He was the captain of the ship for his own song. And you can hear that lack of tension in the recording. It sounds joyful.
It does. It sounds like three friends making a beautiful sound.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty of that sound, because George was a total perfectionist. That guitar part is so specific.
It is. He used a capo way up on the 7th fret of his acoustic guitar. That's what gives it that incredibly bright bell-like ring. And he obsessed over it. Spent a whole hour just re-recording that one guitar part to get it perfect.
And the rhythm, it feels so simple and smooth when you listen, but it's actually really complex. That is the deceptive genius of George Harrison. The verses are in a simple 44 time, easy to tap your foot to. But then you hit that bridge. Sun, 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 here it comes.
Yeah, good luck counting that one.
It's a puzzle. It goes from 118 to 44 to 78.
On 118, I mean, that's almost prog rock territory.
It is, and it comes straight from his deep dive into Indian classical music. He was weaving these complex rhythmic cycles into a pop song so seamlessly that you don't even realize how weird it is. You just feel it.
It's brilliant. And then there's another new sound on this track. The synthesizer.
The Moog. Yeah, this is one of the earliest and best uses of a Moog synthesizer in pop music. George was really into electronic sounds and had one installed at EMI Studios.
What's it actually doing, the song?
If you listen closely in the background, there's this sound that gets progressively brighter. It was described as an increasing brilliance of timbre. It's literally painting a picture of the sun breaking through the clouds and getting stronger and stronger.
That is so cool. And then, of course, George Martin comes in and adds the final layer, the orchestration.
On August 15th, yeah. And it's such a lush arrangement. You've got 4 violas, 4 cellos, a double bass, 2 piccolos, 2 flutes, 2 alto flutes, and 2 clarinets.
It's interesting you mention the double bass. When I think of Beatles strings, I think of Eleanor Rigby or even Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which can be quite sharp. This feels much warmer.
That's a great point. The double bass and the cellos provide this really rich, organic foundation. It's like the earth itself is warming up under the sun. It just lifts the whole song.
So you've got this masterpiece. The album Abbey Road comes out. And it wasn't the big single, was it?
No, not at all. This is where the history gets so interesting. When the album dropped, Here Comes the Sun was popular, for sure, but Something was the A-side.
Something was the one Frank Sinatra famously called the greatest love song ever written.
Exactly. So for decades, that was the hierarchy. Something was George's masterpiece. Here Comes the Sun was. Well, it was a nice, pretty track.
A deep cut, almost.
It was often treated that way by radio programmers, yeah. They'd play Come Together, they'd play Something. But now the tables have completely turned.
So why? Why did the nice, pretty track end up winning the marathon?
I think it comes down to one thing. Universality. Think about a song like Come Together. It's brilliant, but it's weird. It's got juju eyeball and old flat top. It's very 1969.
You kind of have to be in on the joke.
You do, but Here Comes the Sun. It requires zero context. You don't need to know anything about the band's breakup or the counterculture. It taps into a completely universal human experience.
The feeling of relief.
Yes. Everyone, in every culture, in every generation, understands what it feels like for a long, dark period to finally end. The feeling of warmth after cold, light after darkness.
It's pure optimism.
It is, and I think this is so important, it's not naive optimism. It acknowledges the long, cold, lonely winter was real. It admits that things were bad, but it promises that the sun will return.
In a world that feels pretty chaotic and stressful, maybe that's what people need to hear. They don't need a puzzle. They need to be told, it's all right.
I think you nailed it. It's a mantra. It calms the nervous system. When you open up your phone to listen to music today, you're not looking for a history lesson. You're looking for comfort. And George Harrison provides that better than anyone.
It's just the ultimate underdog story, isn't it?
Yeah.
The guy who was dismissed, told his songs weren't good enough, who had to sneak out of a business meeting to even write it.
And he ends up writing the one song that outlasts them all. The Quiet Beatle won, not by shouting, but by writing something simple, beautiful, and emotionally true. Turns out, that's what endures.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Whenever you feel like knowing more about the Beatles, visit us at BeatlesRewind.com. It's the Beatles, all day, every day, 8 days a week. Cass, we'll do it again tomorrow. Right?
Absolutely. See you then.
Until next time, when you listen.
Your mind conducts its own symphony.